I've been consciously working with and creating with guides for over 20 years now, and it is one of my favorite things to do. I first connected with guides when I was in nature, when I was quite young, and started connecting to and with what I now call the whispers. I noticed that it was really in nature that I felt like I was able to connect more deeply with my intuition the most easily. And as my journey unfolded, I began really noticing how when I was in nature, I was able to channel way more clearly. I was able to receive information way more clearly. And I began really using nature as a gateway for me to connect with my spirit guides, but also as a gateway to receive my channeled information through writing. In my Inner Temple Mystery School training, I have also seen firsthand how nature can be such a powerful gateway when it comes to connecting us with our intuition and receiving channeled messages from the unseen realms. After studying the mystical arts and working on strengthening my intuitive gifts, I really became much more confident when it came to trusting the messages from my guides and also deepening my connection with them. I tend to receive my guidance from my guides, and when I channel through writing, and I've actually got a notebook that I journal in every single day after meditating to receive my messages from my guides. I began really journaling and receiving channeled messages when I started showing up to a particular daily practice in nature. It was back in, prior to around 2010, 2011. I would receive channeled messages, but it wasn't until I showed up in this really structured way that the channel really started to flow. And in my first book, which was channeled, I actually wrote about this. But yeah, I vowed to show up every day in nature, and I would go to this special part of nature in Regent's Park. It's called Queen Mary's Rose Gardens, where I would meditate amongst the flowers. There's like 40,000 roses there. And I would meditate and then ask my guides to speak through me. And I'd known for quite some time that I had a book that was wanting to come through me, but I made the decision at this stage to actually show up and receive little bits of that channeled writing each and every day. And so I gave myself the deadline to have to show up for at minimum like 5 minutes each day, and receive some kind of writing for that book. And it was such an amazing experience because what started as like just writing and sharing on social media, and some days I'd just get like a sentence, some I'd get a paragraph, and others I'd get pages and pages and pages that would come flowing through. But the discipline of showing up in that rhythmic way was amazing, because within 6 months I actually had written the entire book, my entire first book, and it really did come flooding through me through this discipline of going into nature, connecting in with my guides and connecting in with the unseen spirits of nature as well, and receiving that book. And I showed up every day, and yeah, within 6 months, the entire book had been written. And I'll never forget the moment where I looked up, having just completed the book, and closed my laptop and saw that I was there right in the middle of the rose garden there, where I had really received and channeled the entire book. It was such an amazing moment, and really it taught me so much about how our role when we're working with the unseen world of spirit, if we keep the guidance in the ethers. And my intuitive teachers have taught me this, but if we, and my creative mentors as well, if we keep our ideas and our guidance in the unseen without like acting on it and having some kind of discipline of showing up to it, it's kind of pointless because we're unable to embody it, unable to answer the call. I believe that we all have a team of spirit guides that are available to support us every moment of every day, but we need to consciously connect with them in order to receive their support and guidance. I've recorded a meditation and created a worksheet to help you to connect in with your spirit guides, to put in a request for guidance, and then to receive a message or messages from them. It took me such a long time to own and claim and trust and be confident in my intuitive gifts and my calling as a creative channel. But today it's amazing how much of a normal part of my life it is. And as a writer and a creative, I really co-create books and oracle decks and meditations and guided soul journeys like the one that I'll be leading you through in a moment. And as well as trainings with my guides. This really is how I work. I find that reflecting back each and every single one of my creations, that from books to oracles to trainings, have really been a co-creation with spirit. And it was a really powerful moment for me when I decided to really invest in nurturing the relationship with the guide of the unseen world that I was co-creating each of my creations with. So for example, my first book that I was talking about before was channeled when I connected with my guides, which was a group of guides called the Council of Light. And my second book, which is Rise Sister Rise, was really fully received when I first connected with a group of guides called the Magdalens. And my beautiful Rose Oracle was co-created with both the nature spirits of the rose, so individual nature spirits of roses, as well as an energy that revealed itself to me as Mother Rose, as in like a symbol of the goddess and great mother, original mother. And yeah, it kind of was like the symbol of the rose being a symbol of the goddess herself. So yes, it's been such a journey in claiming my gift as a channel, and even just being courageous enough to call myself that, even though it's what I've been doing through my creations. Even when I prior to doing the work I do now, I worked as a creative in advertising and business, where I would my personal mission there, I was like an undercover it was an undercover mission in the sense of my motivation for doing that work was to put positive ideas and concepts and energy out into the world. And so, yeah, and I realized I came up with my best ideas when I was walking alone in nature. And so before I'd even go to my job, where my job was to come up with ideas and write scripts and create artwork, what I would do is I would wake up extra early and I would walk along the beach in Sydney, Australia, where I grew up. And before commuting into work, I would walk along the beach and connect in with nature. I'd connect in with the stones. I would connect in with the water around me, with the wind. And yeah, it was through connecting in with nature and the spirits of nature that I did all my creations that were part of my job. I didn't tell anyone that at the time, but yeah, it's amazing when you look back and you can see these things that we naturally do. I am a big believer that we are all intuitive. I do also believe that we all have a team of positive spirit guides that are waiting to guide us. Believe that some guides we come in with and stay with us as we journey on and change through different phases of our lives. And then other guides come in during pivotal moments of our lives. So that's on a personal level. But if you do have the calling of putting creations out in the world or being a vessel for spirit to work through you, you may find that, like me, there are different guides that come in for different creative projects. I believe that there are creations that are waiting to be birthed onto this planet at this time, and that by connecting to your guides, you can become a vessel for creations and consciousness whose times have come. My experience of channeling is like listening to kind of like a faint whisper, so it's quite subtle. For me, I receive it like a whisper, and I receive this whisper, this wisdom in my inner ear. So it's almost like an inner voice. It's not like an outer voice. And sometimes it also comes in for me as an inner knowing. And if you've studied the different types of intuitive senses, you will recognize that I'm saying inner ear, so it's clairaudient, and inner voice, which is clear knowing, claircognizance, and there's many different intuitive senses as well. So always pay attention to how you receive your guidance, your channeled information as well. For many years, I received this information, but it wasn't until I turned up to the discipline of meditation and writing each day that I was able to properly connect in with it and let it flow effortlessly. And I think a big part of that was developing a relationship with the guides that I was channeling, but it was also growing confidence in and recognizing the feeling when I did tap into it versus the voice of my head. So the receiving from the inner ear or the inner knowing or the inner feeling versus just, thinking or creating it in a more logical, linear way. Channeling for me is like receiving your intuition. It can feel kind of like, I find it's like following a golden thread. For me, it's like each new word or knowing that I write down kind of paves the way or allows space or creates space for the next one to come. So it's like following a golden path that reveals itself step by step by step. So I don't know where I'm going, when I begin writing or begin receiving the knowings, but through kind of bringing it into form and for me, I find that it's a lot easier for me to write, although sometimes, particularly when I'm teaching, or holding ceremony, I do receive it in the moment like that. But my favorite way to channel is through written word. That's really why I'm a writer. And so, it's like it's a golden path that reveals itself step after step after step. I don't know exactly where the path is going, and it's not until I kind of get it all down and I look back and I'm like, oh, so it's like I'm discovering it as it's working through me. The more that you show up and listen, the more you'll recognize the energy and the more will be revealed. It's often not until I've written like the whole paragraph or the complete message that I will understand the message that has come through, which is such an amazing experience to have. Some people receive their inner guidance in different ways. So while I receive it through writing as my it's my preferred way of channeling, I can also obviously receive it through speaking it. But pay attention to how you feel like you receive your intuition, because generally how you receive your intuition, the strongest will be some kind of indication as to like when you do connect with spirit through channeling, you'll probably prefer to receive it that way as well, or it'll be the strongest way that you receive it. And so you may receive it through your feelings, your knowings, your visions. There's so many different ways to receive your information as well. So just trust that, because we're all completely unique. And I think that part of saying stepping into the call of the channel is to embrace your uniqueness, because I do believe that there are creations and consciousness that is wanting to be planted here on earth, and consciousness and creations that are wanting to work through us, but the way that this consciousness and these creations will manifest and be created through you will be completely different to how it will be created through me. So I think this is an important thing to acknowledge as a channel, that and a creative, whether you're an artist or a writer or whatever you're creating, we're all creative beings. This is a creative world, a planet of manifestation. And so um I know it's like, oh gosh, I'm not going to get it the same way that the next person will get it, or if I miss this book idea, then someone else is going to do it, but no one will be able to express the energy in the same way that you can. And so I think this is something that's really important to remember when it comes to like building confidence with you sharing your creations that you channel. When working with guides, I recommend giving your guides a name. So this may be something that they deliver to you. So they may tell you, this is who we are. If you ask the question, like, what can I call you? But if you don't feel like you're receiving like the answer for that, and we'll be exploring this in the guided journey as well. Stay open to being able to create a name that you want to call those guides. And think of the name as being like a shortcut for you to be able to connect in with the consciousness or the energy of this guide in an ongoing basis. So it's like how you tune into them rather than having to be like completely accurately right. It can be like your little nickname for this energy. In the meditation, I'll guide you to connect with one of your spirit guides and receive a message from them. And when you come out of the meditation, I invite you to use the worksheet to continue deepening your connection and receive more guidance, more messages, more information from your guide. If you want to really deepen this, I recommend to do the meditation and then just journaling each day and watch as your connection to this guide deepens and deepens. You may find that what you receive is just for you on a personal level, or you may find that it is a seed for a new creation that is wanting to be birthed through you. So I hope you enjoy the meditation and the workbook, worksheets. And yeah, I'm Rebecca Campbell, and it's been wonderful to be with you in this way.